Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I'm grateful that you're joining me today. And in today's show, I'm going to be diving into that feeling of being under attack. If you're feeling being attacked right now, you are not alone. Okay, we're moving through this global awakening. And within this awakening is the dissipation of those old emotional paradigms. And as we move into the 5D reality, many of the old emotional constructs are falling away. Okay. And this is to really help us ascend into these higher vibrational spaces. You see, we must release ourselves from the old way of identifying in this reality, of living in this reality. And it's not coming without some pain. Okay, so if you're feeling like you're desperately holding on and you're getting all of these awarenesses about feeling like, people are attacking you or people are coming at you and you have to defend yourself and all these things, you are feeling it. It's just globally what's going on right now in the world. Okay, much of these old constructs are coming back around for you to be able to identify them and release them for good. Okay, let's just breathe that in for a moment. Okay, it's really truly time to release yourself from a lot of these old paradigms. Let them go, unwind them from your universe. Know that they're just coming back around because it's time to release them. So it's gonna be showing you things. It's gonna be, it's like a call to action. Let me just say it that way, okay? When whatever you're perceiving, going through, feeling being created around you right now, it's all a call to action. So today I'm going to dive into some of the things that you might be experiencing and kind of the equal and opposite way to be able to look at that and to really surrender into the energy so you can release yourself from that paradigm so you no longer have to continue to spin in those energies. Okay, so yeah, so let's take some nice deep breaths. Know that you are not alone. Okay, the world is under attack right now. The system is desperately trying to keep in place all of these old form and structures that they've been using to control, manipulate, and dominate our energy spaces. Okay, and I know that that might sound a little bit weird, but it's true. Okay, the old emotional paradigms are crumbling because they cannot move forward with us to the 5D. So understand that this world is moving into the 5D reality. Okay, and it's kind of how I explain it is it's kind of like I live in Michigan. Grew up in Michigan, and in Michigan, when you dive into some of these lakes around here, there's leeches that will grab your legs and stick to your legs when you're swimming and stuff. And let me tell you what, there was plenty of times being a young child, I can remember coming out of Michigan lakes and having leeches all over my legs. And if you've ever had a leech, you know that if you try to pull a leech off your skin, it's not coming, right? Because it it dives in and kind of like it makes those extra strong grippers, and you can't just pull a leech off. What you have to do is you have to leave the leech, and then you have to apply something. To put some salt on the leech. That's what we do here in Michigan. Put a little bit of salt on that leech, and basically it dries the leech up, and the leech falls off. Right? It's kind of like that. It might be a bad example, but it's like you can't try to resist or pull away from the energies that are going on right now. You have to understand that the more you push these energies away, the more resistance you have, the more you try to pull these energies off of you, the more these energies are going to sink their teeth into you. Okay. What you really have to do is you have to stop. Yeah. Breathe. Identify the energies for what they are. Okay. Again, knowing that We are elevating from the 3D reality, and existing here in the 3D reality is where the light fractals are a lot littler. Okay, so in the 3D reality, there is the 2D reality and the 1D reality that all exists within the 3D reality. Now, those lower level fractals of the 1D, like the 1D reality, is basically complete darkness. Okay, the 2D reality has very little light fractals in it, as well as the 3D reality. There's not as much light fractals, right? So what we're moving through right now is a global shifting of the Earth's energy. We are Earth's beings, okay? So whatever energy the earth vibrates at, we also equally vibrate at. The earth has been vibrating at that higher level frequency. It's going through the fourth dimension and into the fifth dimension. Now they say by the end of this year, the earth will be fully fifth dimensional as far as the earth core. Now we won't necessarily be fully 5D yet in this reality, just because we can't, like, we've been taking this slow boat, if you will, for the last 8 years to assimilating these energies, and we're seeing that in a grand scale right now. I don't know if you've personally seen, but we're discovering animals on the planet that we've never discovered before, and that is because there are a certain amount of animals that only exist within the 3D, 2D, and 1D reality. So we're seeing a ton of animals that are becoming extinct, sorry. And then there are new animals that are being discovered. And the new animals that are being discovered are brighter. They have their colors are more vibrant. They look a lot different. I've been seeing articles about insects that have been being discovered and new types of mammals that we've never seen before. And I seen an amphibian recently that was living in a ocean somewhere that we had, scientists just recently discovered. And that is because as we assimilate these new higher level frequencies, we are seeing things, those things were already existing. Okay, they were already existing. We're just seeing them now because we are assimilating a new frequency and vibration. The earth is exposing these new energies, these new frequencies, these new vibrations. Okay. The thing about this is, and the thing that I really want you to understand, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago as well, is I know it feels really painful right now. And I know it's really easy to go to the space where it's like, what if I get left behind? Or what if this isn't true for me? The thing is the earth is elevating. Okay. The earth is going to 5D. You're coming with it. And the more you allow yourself to surrender and release some of these old emotional paradigms that you may be feeling like you're holding on to, really tightly, the more you're willing and capable to look at what you are perpetrating, what you are upholding as yourself. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of those patterns today that we might be still upholding, those places where we might still be functioning in a certain amount of righteousness. And when I say righteousness, I mean like where we're saying, no, this is right and this is the way it has to be. And the thing that you have to understand about righteousness is we've been programmed from a very, very young age. And as empathic people, as energetically sensitive beings, okay, one of the things I've really learned about us is when somebody ingrains something in us, we're rule followers. We like to follow the rules. And see, the thing is this reality knows that we like to follow the rules. Okay, so this reality, the 3D reality, has set up rules that are not really real and true. Okay, they're like based on paradigms that are not real and true. And by upholding those rules, because we've been programmed to uphold those rules, right? We went to school programmed us with a lot of right and wrong and good and bad. We were raised by parents who were also equally raised in those same paradigms of right and wrong and good and bad, right? When you do this, it means this about you. When you be mean to somebody, that means, when you lose your temper, that means you're a mean person. When this happens, right? We have all these places where we're functioning in all of this righteousness about this is right and this is wrong. Well, the reality is it's nothing is really technically right and wrong. It's all just choice and possibility. And in within that choice and possibility realm, once you decide something is right or wrong, once you've been programmed with the idea that this is right and this is the only way that you can go and this is the straight and the narrow, right? And in your instinctively your energy system follows that path, even though it might be heavy and hard for you to follow that path. And that's what we're waking up to right now, is we're feeling those paradigms of heaviness and of weighed down. We feel really weighed down. And we don't know why we feel really weighed down, right? We don't understand, why does life feel like such a struggle? Why do I always feel this like inner anxiety inside of me of like this like yucky wrongness projection, right? And that's because you are upholding, and not consciously, okay? If I can just continue to say that, you're not consciously doing this. You're unconsciously upholding paradigms that are not real and true because it's what you have been programmed to think is right. Okay. Breathe that in for a moment. Just allow yourself to absorb that statement for a second. Everything that doesn't allow that for you. Yeah, and all of that, 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 all of that. Let's go all the way down that as well, and all the way down that as well, and all the way down that as well. Everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Breathe that in for a moment. Yeah. Let's just vortex that out. We have to understand that much of the way that we've been programmed to live in this reality was to live and uphold the 3D reality structure. Okay. We are ascending. We are moving into a paradigm of ease and joy and abundance. And many of us have been programmed with this idea that life can't be easy. You can't have joy, especially for no reason, right? Do you ever remember being young and you were really happy and someone said to you, "Why are you so happy? What did you take today? What are you on? What are what medication are you taking?" Right? Like they made just being happy and joyful wrong. And I remember so many times when I was young, especially as a teenager, being around, especially my family and a lot of my family, like my extended family, it was always like this, like, why are you so happy? Why do you got that big smile on your face? What did you do? What are you up to? What are you doing wrong? Right? Like always insinuating that just because I was happy, I must be up to no good. Everything, all of that is. Yeah. And all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. What if it's okay that you are just happy and joyful for no reason? Breathe that in for a moment. What if you could just have joy in your life? Breathe that in for a moment. One of the things that we also learned in this reality is that if anyone disagrees with how we believe, they are wrong, right? And you have to kind of like uphold this place of like fighting against it, and explaining your viewpoint and trying to get people to see things from the way that you see them. I mean, we all grew up in that kind of that space of, whatever you thought, it was always like you had to be validated by some kind of an outside source. I remember, in high school and stuff, like writing papers, and like you couldn't just put your own point of view about anything on there. Everything had to come from the validation of some kind of outside source, right? You weren't allowed to just know information. You weren't allowed to just come up with your own ideas or points of views or belief systems. You always had to look for kind of that like outside perspective and check in to see if that outside perspective matched what you thought was real and true, right? Breathe that in for a moment. And so we have grown up with this idea of anyone who disagrees with or goes against what you believe is true, or what somebody has wrote in a book, or what someone has, you know, put out to the news media, let's just say, anytime anyone has a viewpoint that's different than yours or than ours, we have to like fight against this. And the reality is what people believe is from their own perspective, based on their own conditioning and their own belief systems and their own way that they were raised and taught to believe. And again, the reality is I can have a different belief than you, and you can have a different belief than me, and we don't have to fight against each other. We can believe different things and the world is not going to end. Everywhere you're tied into this place where you always have to fight against or resist a different point of view than yourself. That right there. And let's go all the way down that, 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 all the way down that. Everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. We've also learned to internalize this, like what other people's behavior is kind of how they feel about me. Like, let me give you an example. Like growing up where if I didn't want to do something, I can remember being young and I didn't really have a lot of connection with my paternal father. My parents were very young when I was born, and they were married for like, I think maybe just a few short months right after I was born, only because my parents and or my grandparents and his parents, our parents, my grandparents on both sides kind of made them get married. I think because you have a kid, so now you have to get married, kind of thing. And they didn't want to be married, so they were divorced shortly after. And I didn't really have a good connection with my father, but I do remember that my dad wanted to do things like he wanted to take me on motorcycle rides. I didn't want to ride his motorcycle. It was very scary for me to think about riding his motorcycle. But if I said no to him to go on a motorcycle ride, then he was mad at me. Like, we didn't spend a whole lot of time together. Again, I think I already said that. But so like, if I seen him maybe once a month, right? And then when I did see him, he'd say, let's go for a motorcycle ride. If I said no, I didn't want to go on a motorcycle ride, then the whole rest of the day, he was like, he had an attitude. He was like standoffish, like he was angry. So I internalized this feeling of feeling like, you know, his behavior was a way that he felt about me, when in all actuality, it didn't have anything to do with me, had everything to do with him and himself, right? But he internalized this like struggle inside of him, where it was like, if I didn't align with exactly what he wanted, then he had this attitude. And again, that was about him, it wasn't about me, right? But for some reason, we learn this pattern that, how other people behave towards us has everything to do with how they feel about us. But in all actuality, the way people behave is how they feel about themselves. It doesn't have anything to do with us. Everything, all of that is right there. And all of that, 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 everything, all of that is, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? Vaporize, 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 vaporize. We have internalized this way of living in this reality where it's like, if we say no to somebody, it's like it it's offensive, or you're being, a brat, or you're being selfish, or you're being ungrateful. I can remember being young and often feeling this energy of like, if I said no to anybody about anything, about wanting to do something, or wanting to give me something, or and I know many people, and I talk to clients about this a lot, that like taking things from people even when you don't want it, like just because somebody gives you something, it's really hard to say no, right? And in really truly, saying no is the kindest thing that you can do for yourself, especially if you don't want it. you know Being able to say no and stand up to people are truly, it's your right to be able to protect your energy, to be able to protect your space. When I went through my massive awakening, and like, I think it was 2013, 2014, I went through this stage where I literally looked around my house and it was like pretty much everything I owned, not everything, but a majority of the things that I owned were given to me by people, and they were things I didn't even want, right? But, take this because, your grandfather made it, or take this because, it was your grandma's. And not that I don't love and value and respect those people, but they weren't things that aligned with the life that I was looking to live, right? And, here, take this because I bought it for you and I think that you need to have it. Or here, take this because, you know, um, I found it at a garage sale and it was on sale and it was a really good deal and you might need it someday. And all of a sudden I looked around and my house was just packed. It was buried in things I didn't really want, or things that had an energy that really didn't add to my life, and things that were, that I felt like I had to keep because, again, like it was your grandma's, or it was, your grandfather made this. And although I cherish my grandfather and I cherish my grandma, I don't want things that hold a certain energy and space in my immediate home any longer. And so I went through this period where I, packed up a lot of things that I didn't want to necessarily look at all of the time. And I got rid of a lot of things that, made me feel heavy. And I started to really understand that, saying no was really the kindest thing that I could do for myself, whether it was taking things from people, or, allowing people to take my time, or, allowing things to occur in my universe. Everything, all of that is right there. Everywhere you're not allowed to say no, that right there, and everything, all of that is. And all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. And I didn't even really kind of introduce here, if you're new to my show, what I'm doing is some consciousness clearings. Essentially, I'm bringing up the energy of the things that I'm talking about so I can release you from the form and structure of these things, okay? Because these are all old 3D paradigms. These paradigms of, fighting against people if they believe differently than you. Internalizing other people's behavior as it's something about you, um, not being able to stand in what works for you because of what somebody else might think, or do, or be, or choose. All of these are old paradigms that are dissipating right now from the planet. Okay, these are all things that we need to become aware of when we are perpetrating these cycles, when we are, not saying no to someone for fear of what they might think about us, or when we are scared to say no to, taking a gift, or, something from someone because they want us to have it, right? Versus being able to really check in to see, hey, does this add to my life? Does this create more for me? We're moving into the 5D paradigm where this new 5D existence is all about living the expression of you that is light and free and brings you joy and ease. And if you're looking around your space right now and you are unhappy with everything that you own, yeah, that right there. And you feel very boxed into, I can't release this because everything, all of that is right there. That's all adding heaviness to your life. Everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. So essentially, in these consciousness clearings, all I'm doing is allowing you to remove some of this energy, some of the solidity, some of the form and structure around these ideas or concepts that are keeping you looping back into, keeping burying, things in your home that don't work for you, or keeping things in your home that don't work for you, burying emotions because you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, or even upholding this energy of resistance because someone doesn't think or believe in the same way that you do. Breathe that in for a moment. As long as you're holding on to these constructs, you're going to be feeling the weight of the world on you. You're going to be feeling very attacked. You're going to be feeling very overwhelmed in the energy of what's going on right now, because right now, this planet is trying to remove and release those paradigms. If you're functioning within those paradigms, meaning if you're still upholding them in any way, shape, or form, and by upholding, I mean like, still, I know I use words sometimes that it maybe hard to translate if you're especially if you're new to my program in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know how any other way to say it. Essentially, if you're still doing the same things that we're talking about here, you're going to feel that heaviness. You're going to also feel very under attack right now. And that's all by design, because if you are feeling under attacked, then you don't make any change, right? Because if you're feeling under attacked, what do? You retreat to your shell, right? And retreating to your shell right now is not a bad thing, because we are all healing. We're going through a global healing movement. Breathe that in for a moment. It's okay to understand that, you know what, I've upheld some really crappy things. Every single one of us is going through that. No one is immune to discovering that they have been upholding energies that are, not working anymore, that are, kind of gross, myself included. Okay. I just did a program in December of this last year called Heal, where I went through it's kind of like a month journey and kind of walked people through a process to really untangle some of those emotional constructs that people are stuck in right now. And I tell you, I was still experiencing things. We all are, because the thing is new energies are becoming present. And as these new energies are becoming present, new information is becoming available to us that have never been available to us before. And when new information becomes present, you get to look at the old information and see, what is this old information creating for me? What is these old thoughts and ideas and belief systems? What are they creating in my life? Breathe that in for a moment. Much of these old constructs are coming back around for us to identify and release ourselves from within them. Breathe that in for a moment. You're feeling under attack, because again, it's like those paradigms are trying to hold on. They're just like leeches. They're trying to hold on. They're trying to still make their way into your life. And if you're feeling this like energy where it's like you're struggling because you're still upholding them. Surrender. Let them go. So right now, you guys, I'm working on a new free series, and it's going to be available hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And this free series, I'm going to do some deep chakra healing. I'm very aware that some of us are still really upholding a lot of these constructs within our body that we just have not been able to let go of. Okay, so I'm going to be using a ton of information. I'm going to be bringing a lot of new information to you with a lot of new stories, okay, that I haven't told before. And within these stories, if you've been an avid listener of my show or anything that I do, that you know that the stories that I tell are part of the transformation, because it expands you into some new viewpoints. And when you get expanded into some new viewpoints, it allows you to view things in a different light. And it's that change of perspective that allows you to really be able to easily release things. So I'm working on this new series, and we're going to go through this chakra healing, and essentially it's all really about, most of the work I've done up till this point is, especially in this arena, has been all about the energy, space, and consciousness. Okay. So now we're going to deep dive into that programming within your body, anywhere that you're still upholding any of those form and structures within your chakra systems. And I'm going to kind of explain to you in a way where it allows that information to expand so you can easily release it, let it go, and be free from these form and structures. So you no longer have to carry them moving forward. Okay, so that series is going to be available on my website soon at Jamie, Jamie Bates, Bates.com. I'm in the process of, literally, you guys, I have like 5,000 different things that I'm getting completed right now. I'm going through a massive rebrand, and I'm creating a couple different free series. Plus, I have some quizzes that are being created right now too, so you can really get clear about exactly what it is that is still stopping you from being your greatest expression. And these quizzes will hopefully be available soon as well, so you can kind of go through them and you can start to really identify, hey, where am I still getting caught up? Where am I still, perpetrating patterns that don't really work for my life. So those should be available for you soon as well. And as these things become available, I will definitely keep you posted. Know that you can always join my Facebook group. It's free on Facebook, The Conscious Empath, or you can like my Facebook page. On my Facebook page is where I really kind of share all my favorite memes. And in the group is where I share some tips and tools. I have a ton of free videos and stuff in there that you can look at to really help you on your journey right now. Okay. If you are struggling, please know that you are not alone. Okay, we're all feeling it to some capacity. And depending on how much form and structure you're still functioning within is really kind of equal to how much pain you may still be feeling in your life. Okay. And again, I'm going to say none of us are immune from feeling it right now. I definitely can feel what's going on right now. I definitely don't have attachment to it like I used to. Right? Because it's the attachment to it based on the form and structure that you have stored. So when you remove that form and structure, you no longer have kind of like the fight against it anymore. And once you quit upholding it in any way, shape, or form. And when I mean upholding it, it means like when you don't have polarity around it anymore. And that means where you're not making it right or wrong or good or bad. It just is what it is, because that's really the space that you have to get to. You have to get to the space where you understand that, again, these form and structures are falling, and it's only your attachment to it. It's only your points of view about it that are upholding the way that you feel right now. Breathe that in. Yeah, so everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of your universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. It's time to be free. It's time to really know that you no longer have to struggle. Okay, the universe has your back. Nothing that you've been or done is bad or wrong. It's all just been choice. It's time to forgive yourself. It's time to heal. It's time to move forward. It's time to move on. My Conscious Empath program is also available, and it is really, truly a step-by-step guide that will take you through the process. It is 10 weeks, but by the end of that 10 weeks, you're going to be functioning in a brand new energy space and consciousness. So if you have been on the fence about taking that program, now is the time. It's going to release you from a lot of that form and structure just by listening. Okay, it's a very powerful program that leads you step by step to going through this process to free your life. It's time, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope I gave you some insight that's going to really help you move forward with ease. Have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you again next week. Thank you. Have a great day.
As the energies in this reality begin to intensify, let's begin to process through energy and awareness within your body like we never have before. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for past trauma and abuse we all have endured. Heal is a new program by Jamie Bates. In this program, she will guide you how to internally change the frequency and vibration with her energy processes. This program will deep dive into easy-to-learn processes and personal stories to release you from any loops or patterns that have been keeping you from awarenesses, preventing you from healing your soul. In this program, you will connect with your inner vortex and get into your natural state of beingness. Once you understand this connection, you will be able to easily identify when you are not being you. Jamie will take you through life scenarios as to why you are still getting caught in old behaviors and actions, and how to call out these actions with energy manipulations to change the way you vibrate. Once you change this vibration, it easily allows for you to receive the big picture and change the frequency for good. Now is the time we all can heal. Secure your spot in this journey to heal today. You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.